Thanks again for joining us today. This is a special presentation from the Responsible Nutrient Management Foundation. I'm Brian Hefty. With me now I have Daryl Brugink with the No-Till Farmer magazine and Tim Moen with the Rural Media Group. Daryl and Tim, thanks for joining me.
Thank you.
All right, so Daryl, we're talking about communication to farmers and to non-farmers. Can you tell us just a little bit about the No-Till Farmer magazine?
Yeah, No-Till Farmer was started 43 years ago. Frank Lester started it and started as a newsletter. Now has a magazine as well to go with it. It's a paid subscription publication, and as the name suggests, no-tillers are the guys who are really the target audience with that, and they're, we're providing them information, trying to help them learn how to no-till better. There's a lot of people always say that I believe no-till is a really good practice to go with and the way we should go, but we also always say just because you no-till doesn't mean you're doing everything right. So a lot of broad information we try to share on agronomic practices.
Sure. So why are you and your company involved with the Responsible Nutrient Management Foundation?
Well, I think it comes down to education. I mean, there's a natural bridge. That's what we're trying to do is educate farmers, and I think that's what this foundation is trying to do is educate people. And not only just farmers, I mean, farmers are, they need to never assume that they are doing everything the right way. And so we want to provide them information on different things that to consider as it pertains to fertility. Mm-hmm. And at the same time, though, we want to be able to maybe share some of those stories of farmers and the practices they're doing, the things they're trying to do to do a better job with their fertilizer, and make that available to the general public so that they understand that this is an industry and a group of people who are trying to do the best job possible with the resources they have.
Yeah. All right, Tim, tell us just a little bit about the Rural Media Group. There are a lot of different aspects of that, a lot of different facets.
Sure, Brian. Yeah, Rural Media Group is a group of television and radio networks. Obviously, our flagship is RFD-TV, our sister network Family Net and Rural TV. We also have Rural Radio on Sirius XM Channel 80. And we also have a rural magazine as well. Currently, we have just announced that we're approaching 66 million households in the United States. So we're pretty excited about that, and the addition of 5 million homes in Canada. So.
Yeah, we feel very blessed. So my brother Darren and I have hosted Ag PhD TV for many years. It's aired on RFD-TV, and also the Ag PhD radio show that's aired on Rural Radio. So can you tell us just a little bit about your listening audience? I assume you have lots of non-farmers listening to the radio, seeing things on TV, and I mean, just talk to us a little about your audience.
Well, our audience is mixed. Obviously, we're first and foremost, we cater to the agricultural industry and the farmers, but it's always been a mission of ours to connect city and rural together through a common bond, and that's why it was important for us to get involved in this. We have the outlet and the distribution point to educate both city and to the farmers. The audiences, I think, are quite different, but we help the farmers through programs such as Ag PhD. They may learn new practices that make them more efficient and more profitable at the end of the day, while on the other side, the city folk don't realize, they feel that the farmers are spilling fertilizer on heavy applications and polluting streams. They don't understand that this is a business, and it's a lot of thought process goes behind it. So we reach both audiences. We like to get them connected together, and it's an education process.
Definitely. So one of the things that a lot of people have talked about over the years is reducing tillage, going to no-till. And Daryl, can you just kind of explain to our audience, farmers and non-farmers, what are the big advantages that you and your company see with no-till compared to maybe some farming practices that were used 10, 20, 30 years ago, and even today on certain farms?
Yeah, I think one of the things that no-till guys are trying to do, there is a reduction in time that they will spend in the field. If you can go to that point where you don't need to work your field and till it, turn the soil over, if you can go into that what you harvested the last year and what's left sitting in that field, and if you can go in and put that seed in the ground without working up all that ground, it's a time savings, number one. But number two, you're also, erosion control is a big benefit of it. When you're working the soil up, you're loosening it up, and when we get these large rainfall events that we seem to get more of these days, you got an opportunity for water to pull soil out of the field. So you're trying, from an erosion standpoint, you're trying to protect that soil by leaving that layer of residue that was from the leftover crop. And there's some soil benefits to it. I just think myself as, I live in town, and I actually have a little compost pile. If you think about what they're trying to do and not disturb the soil and turn it over, it's kind of like what happens with my compost pile. When I go in and open that up after having not touched it in a couple years, I mean, the soil there it's really vibrant. You've got a lot of earthworms, a lot of microorganisms and things in there that are really beneficial for your soil and really have a good payback for the farmer with his crop. So there are a lot of benefits to it with no-till. It's a challenging, it's very challenging for farmers because you do get into some situations where you have cold springs, you've got wet soils. It may take a little longer for that soil to warm up and dry out before you can plant and get that seed to establish. But the guys who have done it long term and been successful with it really believe heavily in it that's the best way for farming to be practiced.
Well, one of the big things is you're able to build the soil a lot more quickly, build up soil organic matter, and like you say, get that soil life really going. And a lot of people think of the ground as just dirt, but I mean, it's alive. If you can get all those things working for you instead of necessarily working against you, you're in a lot better shape. But I mean, farmers are able to do this today with modern technology. They couldn't really do much of this. I think about, so I was saying a little bit earlier about my grandpa and my great-grandpa farming some of the same ground we have. They weren't able to do no-till. What's been the big difference today versus 50 or 80 years ago? Why can a farmer do no-till?
Well, I think part of it's engineering, it's technology, it's your planters and what you're able to put on your planter to make it work. When you work the soil up and you run over it a couple times, you create a soft, easy to plant a seed into type of environment. In a no-till system, you've got old corn stalks, you've got old crop residue, you've got a lot of things you have to go through to get that seed into the ground and get it placed perfectly. So the folks out there who have created row cleaners that you put on your planter, which helps move that trash out of the way. The gauge wheels that help to put that seed, the seed into the ground, and then closing wheels, that little slot that you make with your planter, the ability to, with closing wheels behind, to close that soil back up over the seed so you've got good seed to soil contact and that seed can germinate and start growing. It's things like that that have been, that guys, a lot of it has been created by farmers. They're the ones who came up with the ideas and said, I got to try and make this work. How do I make it work? They've been the creative ones, and today we've got a lot of different tools that farmers can use to make no-till work.
Yeah, the other big thing that I think about is pesticides. And right away when people hear the word pesticides, they think, oh my goodness, it's poison that's going to kill us all. But a lot of the pesticides that we use on our farm are really natural products. I mean, the insecticide that we use most commonly comes from the chrysanthemum flower. And when we talk about Roundup, people think, oh, Roundup's a bad thing. Well, the enzyme that Roundup attacks is not even found in human beings. There's no possible physical way that active ingredient could hurt a human being. So Tim, I mean, talk to us just a little bit about some of the comments you get from non-farmers and how your network tries to address those when there are these big misconceptions out there.
Well, that's right, Brian. I think there's a huge misconception. The education that needs to be done is never ending. The people feel that the pesticides are being applied too heavily, and through programs such as this and infomercials and advertisements for the Responsible Nutrient Management Foundation, I think we can help educate these people that this is a business, we're not wasting, and these products that we're using are safe for them and the food that they consume.
Yep. So Daryl, how about for you? What message do you have for our listening audience today in terms of what the Responsible Nutrient Management Foundation does and what important things you see in agriculture going forward that are really good things for everyone?
Well, and kind of dovetail what you were just talking about, I think general public, and it's human nature for all of us to want to blame somebody else for things. Certainly, farming and farmers do have to take responsibility for what they contribute to. We talked about what some of your folks have talked about what's happened in Toledo and what's happened with some of the algae blooms. So certainly, farmers have to take their responsibility for what they do. But I think sometimes homeowners and that don't realize the fertilizer that's put on their lawn can also be washed off into the sewer systems and end up in the water. And there's industrial waste that occurs too. So we all have to take our role in it. And certainly farmers are not unlike anybody else. They are business people. And number one, they do not want to apply anything more than what they need. Fertilizer, for example, if it is not the most costly input on a farm, it is one of the most costly inputs. And so, why would they want to put any more fertilizer on than what they need to grow that crop and grow the food that our world needs? So they are taking a hard look, and I know that's something that we try and do with our publication to educate people and show different ways of doing things that can reduce the amount of fertilizer they apply, and also look at ways how they apply it and maybe when they apply it, that the plants can take it up more efficiently and not leave it susceptible to loss and getting out into the waterways. So, I think for the non-farming public, they need to realize that that farmers as a whole are looking to do their part. They're looking for solutions. They've been handed a great responsibility here with these natural resources we have, and they want to take care of it. In general, the farmer wants to take care of it, and he wants to turn that farm over to the next generation in better shape than when he got it.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I think the communication is just incredibly important, and that's why we're talking about this today. So Tim, thanks a lot for being on the show. Daryl, thank you.
Thank you.